Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Talk Sports Show with host Alec Pecado. On today's show, we are going to go over my fantasy football review, my best performance, waiver wire guys to add, and you will also get some college football upsets. Let's get started. My best performance from fantasy football. This week was Brock Purdy. He threw for 333 passing yards and 3 touchdowns against the Buccaneers. And I don't know how Brock Purdy's only 80% rostered in fantasy football. He should be rostered in every single league. He is a really good quarterback. It doesn't matter if it's a 4-point passing touchdown league or a 6-point passing touchdown league. He needs to be rostered. Here are my waiver wire guys under 80% rostered. I give you a player from every position. First one, quarterback. I like Aiden O'Connell as a streaming quarterback this week against the Chiefs. If you watched Monday Night Football last night, the Chiefs got carved up by Jalen Hurts. I like Aiden O'Connell this week as a streaming borderline quarterback, low-end quarterback 2, high-end QB3 against this Chiefs defense. And I like O'Connell rest of the season as well. For if you need a starting quarterback or if you just need somebody to stream 1 or 2 weeks out of the rest of the season. And he's only 2.8% rostered. The second waiver wire ad is tight end, and this is if you're very desperate at tight end. Michael Mayer, tight end, Raiders. I just talked about his teammate, Aiden O'Connell. I like Michael Mayer a lot. He is seeing a lot more targets since AOC Aiden O'Connell took over as the starting QB. And I like Michael Mayer rest of the season. And if you're in a dynasty league, go pick up Michael Mayer. Because I think he will have a big year too. Whether it be Aiden O'Connell or whether the new regime, GM and head coach draft a QB, I like Michael Mayer. Number 3, Odell Beckham Jr., 43% rostered, Ravens wide receiver. And the reason I like Odell going forward is because if you didn't see on Thursday night, Mark Andrews left the game in the first half and didn't return with injury. And John Harbaugh came out and said that Mark Andrews has an outside shot of returning in the playoffs if the Ravens make the playoffs, which they probably will. But I like that you're going to have pass catchers step up. And one of them's going to have to be Odell. He went 4 for 116. He's had back-to-back good fantasy performances. And I like him if he's available in your league, which he probably will be. I like him as a high-end wide receiver 2. No, low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3, rest of the season. This should be your top waiver wire ad for running back. Zach Charbonnet, Seattle Seahawks. And the reason he's 32.4% rostered. And especially if you have Kenneth Walker, I would go out and add Zach Charbonnet. Because Walker might miss Thursday night's game against the 49ers. So I would go out and add Charbonnet. and play him against San Francisco. Start him if Kenneth Walker is out injured. Waiver wire ad number 5. Washington Commanders defense, 71.2% roster. This is the week to have the Commanders defense. They play New England. And New England turns the ball over a lot, whether it be Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. I would pick up the Commanders defense and start them. If you have a good defense, then don't pick up the Commanders. But if you don't, if you've been playing waiver wire defense game where you pick up a different defense every week, I would go with the Commanders this week. And my waiver wire kicker ad is Vikings kicker Greg Joseph, 8.7% roster. As you see, the Vikings can still score even without Kirk Cousins. I like Greg Joseph as the number 1 kicker ad for fantasy football this week. My first upset is North Carolina State +3 over North Carolina. I really think this upset can happen. North Carolina has looked very suspicious, per se, the last couple weeks. And it scares me that they might lose. They might lose this week against North Carolina State. My number 2 upset is Northwestern +6 over Illinois. I like this upset because I think Northwestern is playing some of their best football going into the end of the season, going towards their bowl game. And Illinois really has nothing to play for here. So I like Northwestern to win this game and win it easily. And my number 3 upset, and this one's kind of out of left field. Arizona State +11 over Arizona. I like Arizona State. I think they've just had bad luck this year with injuries at QB, whether it be Jaden Rashada going down. He was a true freshman that was going to be the starter the whole year, and then he got hurt. They haven't had a good year, but this is a rivalry game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona State somehow wins. Now here's my cover picks for today's show. Number 1 cover number 1, Louisville -7 over Kentucky. Kentucky is not beating Louisville. I do think Kentucky can score, but I think Louisville covers the point spread of -7. And I think they win 35-28. Because yes, I said Kentucky can score. I think it's 35-28 Louisville. And Louisville covers the point spread. And then Kansas State -10 over Iowa State. I don't think this is going to be a game. I think K-State destroys Iowa State. And they cover that -10 very handedly. And my last one, Washington State +16 against Washington. Over Washington to cover. I think Washington State will cover for one of 2 reasons. One, I think Washington, they barely stuck by Oregon State by the skin of their teeth, which was 2 points. So, and here's the thing. I could have had Washington on upset alert, but I said, do I really want to take the chance of not giving y'all a pick that's going to actually happen as compared to giving you the point spread here to say that Washington State's going to cover? I think it's more logical to have the pick here be that Washington State covers plus 16 over Washington. Over under number 1, Charlotte and South Florida. Over 56.5 points. I like this over under a lot. I think this is going to be a high scoring game for USF. I don't think Charlotte's going to be able to keep up, and that is why I like the over here. I think USF's going to come out and get a 21 or 28 nothing lead, and they're going to just beat the brakes off of Charlotte. Central Michigan and Toledo is my next over-under, and that is at 55 points. I like the over here because both teams score a decent amount of points a game, and I think this is going to be a high-scoring game with a lot of touchdowns. Watch Daquan Finn, the quarterback at Toledo. And watch head coach Jason Candle. He could be a candidate to get a head coaching job at a Power 5 school. And last but not least, here's my under pick. And this is absurd how low this point spread is. Nebraska, Iowa. Under 26.5 points. I have a feeling this game is going to finish either 10-0, 10-7, 14-7, 14-10. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of points scored in this game. And I love the under in this game for some reason. I don't know why. I just do. Ladies and gentlemen, I did put a community poll up this morning asking if y'all want me to do a mock draft tomorrow on the show. As tomorrow, it's going to be like Monday's show was, a little bit longer, because we're having NFL picks, college football upsets, and if y'all feel generous enough, maybe a mock draft. And if you haven't already, please leave a thumbs up on this video, as it would help me with the algorithm on YouTube. And I offer memberships. They start at 99 cents a month. You get perks with the memberships. Specific perks, like you get compete with me in fantasy football next year. You get to compete with me in a fantasy baseball league, if you so choose. You get to compete in fantasy hockey or basketball with me next year because those seasons just started. And I also offer merch store. I can pull up the merch store for you right now. Let me share my screen. We are going to go over to Earn Shopping. We're going to click on this. Here's all my merch. As you can see, the prices. The cheapest thing is the slides. They're between $40 and $50. T-shirts. The T-shirts are $23. Sweatshirt $40, $30. I recommend buying merch, and if you buy merch, send me a picture of it on social media, on my Instagram, Alec Thomas Pecado 24. And ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for today's stream. I will see you back here tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock